following season, the T-Wolves top 3 protected, but if it's number 4, they got it. Plus their own draft pick. And if it is top 3, so they don't have it because it's top 3 protected, the next season, 2022, they get it unprotected. So if the T-Wolves don't have a good season, they can wind up with the first overall pick again. The Warriors are set up so lovely going forward. And in the meantime, didn't have to deal with this season and get their crew back next year. This really helps them.
Well, Max, the reason I didn't bring up the Warriors because that was their situation pre-coronavirus, not just now. So that's the only reason that I didn't pick the Warriors. I love that pick, what you're saying about them because of the return of Klay Thompson being fully healthy. Steph Curry had already returned anyway. But I get where you're coming from. I was just looking at it feeding directly off of the coronavirus, forcing the suspension of the season. What you highlighted about the Golden State Warriors was applicable to their situation, whether there was a suspension of the season or not. In the case of the Brooklyn Nets, the fact that the season has been suspended, you're 30 and 34. Everybody's recognized, it's very conspicuous that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are not there and available to you. In this particular instance, the season is suspended. There would be an asterisk next to the season in the event that it continued. And by the way, I'm very confident, call it what you want, but I'm not as confident in Major League Baseball and other sports, Max, but I'm very confident that for a 2-month period, could there be basketball this summer? Yes, I am. I'm very confident about that. And my confidence is elevating. My confidence is elevating more and more each day, only as it pertains to the NBA. Having said all of that, if you're the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving get to have additional time to get healthy once they return, combined with the fact that this season is definitely compromised for those lower rung teams right now. It might be a priority for the Lakers and the Clippers, Denver, teams like that, Milwaukee, etc. But for the lower rung teams, this season is a wash. So with that as a reality, I think it really helps Brooklyn with Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
No doubt it does. I mean, the two teams that it helps the most, obviously, because of injury, are the Nets or the Warriors. The reason I favor the Warriors is, you remember how Jerry West arranged it so that the Lakers had the #1 overall pick? They already had Magic and Qerim. They also wound up with James Worthy. Or the Spurs, they have this powerhouse team with David Robinson, but because of injury, they wind up with the #1 overall pick. It's Tim Duncan. Now they have Robinson and Duncan. That's what the Warriors remind me of right now. And except that, unlike the Spurs, the season that they would have to suffer through to get that pick, they don't even have to play it, maybe. It may not even be.
But you know what you're missing, Max? Well, Max, you know what I think you're missing? You're missing the evaluation process that you customarily go through that has now been compromised because of lack of access due to the coronavirus. So, in other words, you got a top pick, and you want to make sure you utilize that top pick effectively and make the right decision. I'm not questioning that the Warriors are capable. I mean, I think that they're an A-list. They're the gold standard right now. But I also think it's important to highlight the fact that how the coronavirus has compromised the whole evaluation process. If they were worried about that with the NFL, imagine how worried about that they are with basketball because of all of this as it pertains to the draft and making sure you make the right selection.
All right, let's leave it there, guys. Let's go to New Orleans. Want to talk a little football here. Jameis Winston officially a part of Who Dat Nation after signing a one-year deal with the Saints, and he will be backing up Drew Brees with Taysom Hill. Jameis spoke to the media yesterday about his new mindset.
The only thing that's going to be new is that, I'm not the guy, but to myself, I'm still a guy, and I'm going to coach every day like I'm the guy, and I think that's what that quarterback room breeds of. Like when you see what happened last year with the amount of playtime that Taysom and Teddy got. I'm not saying that I'm going to expect that this year, but those guys were prepared, and that's where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be prepared for whatever.
Max, in my vantage point, he's saying the right things there. Are Jameis Winston's days as a starting quarterback officially over?
I do think they are. And I think the reason you see so many other backup quarterbacks who are not very good paid more than him, it's not the upside. That people know Winston has big upside. As a backup, you can put him in. Maybe he can win some games for you, instead of giving the game away. But how can you rely on a guy but it's not like he wasn't playing for a great coach. How can you rely on, with weapons, how can you rely on a guy who throws 30 interceptions, gives 112 points to the other team? So he's going to have to earn that chance to be a starter. And then I suspect he's going to get a pretty quick hook if he starts throwing interceptions. And given his game, and this goes back to college, for as many spectacular things that he does spectacular things for the other team too. And I don't mean like he'll never start another game. I mean sustain at least a full season as someone's starter. I don't see it.
Well, I disagree with you. I think he has a chance to be a starter. I think number one by default, Max, because I think there are a few questionable quarterbacks in the National Football League who are starting for respective teams. I think there's a few teams that are looking for legitimate starters. Secondly, throwing that 30 interceptions, we all know how I feel about Jameis Winston, how he should be the defensive player of the year because of those 30 interceptions from a quarterback position. But he also threw for 5,100 yards plus and 33 touchdowns. And I think that you can't ignore that. Thirdly, I think that he's learned from the error of his ways. I actually think that he's a much, much better person, and he should be given the benefit of the doubt in that regard. Humility ultimately can drape us all. Let's give him an opportunity to showcase that. And last but not least, I cannot emphasize enough what a fan I am of Drew Brees. I'm not talking about just the greatness of Drew Brees as a quarterback. I'm talking about as a person. He's a leader. He's highly intelligent. He knows the game of football inside and out. And he's the kind of guy capable of making you want to listen to him. He has that kind of personality and that kind of effect on people. And I think Jameis Winston being around that can be the sponge that he needs to be and learn how to be so much better in so many ways as a quarterback and as a person playing behind Drew Brees. And I think Jameis Winston will benefit from that.
I like the Breeze point. I don't know if that saves his career, but I like that point. And Stephen A., you made a good point before that. Guys like, Jim Thorpe, Deion Sanders, great two-way players. Why can't Jameis Winston also one day be in the Hall of Fame as a great two-way player? 30 touchdowns for your team and the other team. That's one of the great two-way players of all time.
All right, let me give you this really quick. You're unbelievable. Our fan tweet of the day, this is from Flights No Feels. Who does Jameis benefit more from? Is it Sean Payton or Drew Brees, Stephen A.?
Drew Brees, for the reasons that I just articulated. I respect profoundly Sean Payton. Don't get me wrong, but it's Drew Brees and his direct personal relationship with Jameis that I believe he will develop that is going to take the reins.
Max?
We agree about that. I'd say it's Breeze only because Jameis Winston's had coaching and weapons in the past and has not been great, but he hasn't been the understudy to a future Hall of Famer who's still great and willing to mentor. That's what he's got now.
All right. Thank you, Flights No Feels, for sending that in. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow.
This is SportsCenter.